We're at the Colonial Theater, a place that never gets old, but it's also the location in downtown Pittsfield, Museum Facsimiles, that also has items that never grow old, as Ken Green would describe. He's co-owner of Museum Facsimiles. So Ken, you go by the store there and you see these vintage maps, old maps of, whether it's Pittsfield, New York City, Boston, what have you. People are really fascinated by that stuff. Just seeing, and even you grew up in a place and just going back 200 years and seeing what it looked like and what the streets were like and all that. It's a fun thing to do. And I'm sure you see people come into your store all the time who will just sit there for, an hour looking at a map. Hopefully they buy it.
Maybe not an hour. If they're there for an hour, they usually buy it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we have up on the wall right now like this phenomenal map of New York City from 1877, and it measures like 44 inches wide by about 7 feet tall. And it's something we produce. We made the investment in a large format printer, which is just a really fancy computer printer, but it is archival. And I subscribe to several different websites around the internet, and I find these really super high-res files so that everything is really sharp and clear, and it's not pixelated, it's not blurry, it's all like perfect. And people spend untold amount of time looking at these things, finding where they grew up or finding where their grandparents grew up.
Yeah.
And how much things have changed. We have a great one of Pittsfield from 1899, and then we have one of Pittsfield also from, I believe it's 1857. And, a 40-year span there like that, huge changes in the city. Yeah. Huge changes. It became this urban center. So that sort of thing is really fun. And we also have like maps of every town in Berkshire County. I've got Dalton. I've got Great Barrington. We have Tyringham. We have the tiny little towns as well, and they're fun because they have like the names of people's houses, who lived in the particular houses. And
it is fascinating, and even just knowing how even changes in street names. You're like, wait a second, that used to be Water Street, now it's something else in Pittsfield, and then you recognize, well, it was named likely after someone who either was important to the city or so forth. So it really shows that evolution.
But the maps are fascinating, and actually designing with maps is really, really hip now. You go into Restoration Hardware or any of those big kind of retro kind of environments to buy stuff, artwork or handles or whatever, and you'll see these huge maps in these dining rooms as a real focal point of decoration. And oftentimes, it's where people had their honeymoon, or it's their favorite Paris, their favorite city in the world. So they put that on their wall, and it's a jumping off point for conversation.
Yeah. Speaking with Ken Green, he's co-owner of Museum Facsimiles. A wonderful conversation about some of the great artwork and nostalgic memorabilia he has in the stores. We'll continue the conversation.